Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's action figure showcase, we're going to change it up a little bit, and we're going to have a top 10, and we're going to look at my top 10 Attitude Era figures. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back. Like I said, today I'm going to be looking at the top 10 Attitude Era figures in my collection. And I've always wanted to do more just like top 10 videos, and as far as showcases go, I'm going to just kind of interchange them. Sometimes I might look at whole collections, sometimes I might just do a top 10, might do a top 10 of a certain wrestler, just kind of depends. The thing is, a lot of the figures in my collection are customs, and I want to start looking more at just the official releases we've gotten from Mattel, because I have a ton of those as well. My collection isn't just custom. So today I'm sticking pretty strictly to just official releases from Mattel, and this top 10 is just my favorites. There are, even when I put this together, like I wrote down a list and then I went and grabbed everything off the shelf, and then when I got down to it, I was kind of laying them out next to me so that I could just go down the line, and I changed some things up. Sometimes it depends on the day. I don't have a specific criteria for these necessarily, but I kind of went off the top 10 that I like the most. If the man cave was burning down and I had to grab 10 Attitude Era Elite figures, these would be what I grabbed. So these are going to be Elites. I was going through the list of Ultimates as well, and it was too heavy on the Ultimates, I felt like. So that'll be a completely separate one. But this right here is going to be my honorable mention. So we've got the Legends 10 DDP. We've got Elite Rikishi. I think that one's Elite 27. I don't remember. We've gotten a few. We've gotten a re-release. They're all essentially the same, just with the different font color, different colored Rikishi on his waist there. And then we've got the Hall of Champions Series 1 Undertaker, and then Elite 26 Road Dogg and Elite 27 Billy Gunn. So these Billy Gunn and Road Dogg figures are mostly Mattel releases, but I've fixed it up a lot. The pants I haven't changed anything from the waist down on those figures, but waist up, like it's a different torso on Road Dogg. I swapped a different head. Billy Gunn, I gave a bigger torso and arms. Obviously, that shirt did not come from Mattel. That's a custom shirt. And then I used a decal for the shirt on Road Dogg as well. Obviously, we didn't get a clean and jerk shirt from Mattel. And then there's tape. So a lot of fixing up to it. I really like both of those figures. I wouldn't necessarily call them customs, but I wouldn't call them official releases from Mattel. With Rikishi, I think his figures are really, really nice. I wish the size was a little more similar between all of the figures we get of him, like the Head Shrinkers version, we're getting the New Generation version, Make a Difference, Fatu, and it's just, it varies a lot. Skin tone as well, that's another one. Rikishi's another victim of the skin tone problem. And then the Hall of Champions Undertaker, I just think is a cool figure. It's really the head sculpt for me on that one. It's different. He's got that long goatee, and the hair, everything there is a lot different from the other Ministry Undertaker we got. So I wanted to throw that in there. I think we got a re-release. I could be making that up. I'm almost positive we got a re-release in the Greatest Hits line, which obviously I didn't pick up if I can't remember. And then the Legends DDP I think is fantastic, but it's short. I felt like the pants they used for him were a little too baggy. And then I felt like they just didn't capture his height or his build very well. I like what they did waist up. I think that head sculpt is amazing. That is definitely one of the success stories as far as Mattel switching to true effects. I think it's fantastic. I like the earpiece on it. I don't remember if it came with the European title or if I just threw it on there, but I think it's a really nice figure. It's just the height kind of kills it for me. It's pretty short compared to his other figures. And then I did have, well, I had my, oh, here, right in front of me. This was my number 11. This had started out at number 10 for me. It's kind of a plain figure, but I wanted to throw this in there. It's the Stephanie McMahon Helmsley Elite. It had the women's championship. I want to say it was like Elite 70 or 71, something like that. But I thought this was a really nice figure. We had already gotten kind of this era of Steph in the Milkamania pack, and it was okay. It was pretty tall. It came with swappable head sculpts. It was from, obviously, when Kurt Angle came out with the milk truck. And it was a cool idea. It was fine. But then they gave us this one. It was a little shorter in scale. Came with the women's championships. Obviously, it's got the Stephanie McMahon Helmsley shirt, double jointed arms. And I just thought the head sculpt, just all around, this was a much better figure. More representative of that era specifically. Which it wasn't like that first one we got was just a moment. It wasn't Stephanie McMahon, women's champion, blah, blah, blah. So I thought this was a fantastic figure, even if it is a little plain. It's not really one that just jumps to mind when I think of the Attitude Era figures we've gotten, but I thought it was really nice. So I did want to have that on here, and like I said, that's number 11 for me. It was just outside my top 10, but there's my honorable mention. Let's get to it. All right, so I'm gonna throw them on here in pairs. The autofocus just works better when I have two figures on the rotating stand instead of one. I don't know why exactly, but that's what we're gonna roll with. So number 10 for me is going to be the Legend Series 24 Elite Kurt Angle. I just thought it was a perfect Kurt Angle figure. We've gotten other Kurts. This one, I want to say, as far as the Attitude Era goes, was the first one that had the double jointed arms as well as the true effects on the head sculpt. The entrance grates that we got was single jointed arms, obviously, compared to this one. And then this one is on ball joints, I'm pretty sure. The first one is not, and it moves okay, but not as well, obviously, as when they used the ball joints. I don't know why it took so long to transition from that, but they've mostly moved on, and a lot of the figures we are getting now, even like Kurt Angle, his Elite, it pretty much looks the same parts, but it's got the new upgrades with the hips, the arms, and everything. And like I said, I thought this was a perfect Kurt. It was pretty bare as far as accessories. It came with a shirt, it had his Olympic medals, and a lot of these don't have all the accessories on them on my shelf, or I have them on another figure. So even for the countdown, it doesn't necessarily make or break with which accessories it comes with. I just kind of went through and I picked what I really liked off the shelf. So that was number 10, is that Kurt Angle. And then number 9 for me is the Ringside Collectibles Defining Moment Mick Foley here. I just thought it was so cool. It definitely has its issues, and I can see a lot of people really disliking this figure. I saw a lot of complaints, and I thought a lot of them were valid. The biggest thing for me is that I had to add wrist tape to it. It had no wrist tape on it, and that was one of the first things that I saw people talking about, is how are you going to give us a defining moment and then not catch that detail? There's so much other cool details they put into this, and I was surprised that that was something that they left out. I really liked how they molded the sleeves on the shoulders there. That's kind of how the Jax version was, I'm pretty sure. Actually, the Jax version had like rubber, and the shirt was rubber, and it kind of went over the shoulders, but it still had that ripped look. I thought it was pretty cool how they did that with this Mick Foley, where it's pushed up on that right arm, and then it looks kind of ragged and torn on the left. Then obviously he has the thumbtacks on the back there, which I thought was a really neat thing to add. And then the head sculpt is just fantastic. I really like the hair. I thought that was really well done. They capture the toothy smile with the bloody tongue really well. And then of course my favorite thing about it, as well as my children's favorite thing, is that his tooth is in his nose on the head sculpt. I thought that was such a cool addition. I tend to overlook little details when I'm doing things, so that wasn't even something that I thought about them doing, and then to see it when I got the figure in hand, I thought was awesome. And this one, again, I think that was an upgrade to ball joints. His previous versions, I'm almost positive, were on the ratchet joints, and they have fixed that, especially with that 3-pack that they released of his, with the Cactus Jack, Dude Love. I could have just thrown all of those on here. I really liked those, but this was the one I decided to go with. So that's number 10 and number 9. Next up at number 8 for me is going to be my Monday Night War Series 4 Stone Cold. I thought this was an awesome figure. It came with the wristwatch, the t-shirt here. I think that smiling sculpt is perfect. Like, I think that works for a lot of figures. It's a great likeness for Stone Cold, but I felt like it was just made for this version with him in some handcuffs getting walked out. I'm pretty sure the handcuffs did not come with him though. They came with the Big Boss Man in the same wave, so that brought it down a little bit. But having swappable hands to go with these handcuffs is so much better. They just used to give us like very rubbery ones that you could pull apart enough to get over the hands. These ones are a little tougher plastic, which I appreciate. They're not going to fall apart, break as easily, and then you can just pop the hands off, obviously. The wristwatch was a really cool addition, but I really like that they remolded his jean short legs. I didn't even think they needed an upgrade, but then when we got these, I really liked it. So they had first done it on the Target 4-pack, and then they have since done it on at least this one. I want to say there's others, but I really like the way that they did the shorts here. I haven't tried to put knee braces on. I don't know how they'd fit with those compared to the knee braces, the way they fit with the other Stone Cold, but I really like this one. And then the shirt with no Velcro on the back was really cool. So it was a pretty simple Stone Cold, but I just thought it represented him so well, especially like Attitude Era. When I think of Stone Cold on Raw, I don't think of Stone Cold in his ring attire. I think of him in street clothes. I think of different moments, and we've gotten a bunch just in the Monday Night Wars line, but they've really been pumping out Stone Colds as they've kind of gotten better with soft goods, I feel like, and this is probably my favorite. One of the issues, like I said in the beginning, was that when I made my list, I started putting it together. Now I just had Attitude Era figures, and it wasn't going to be Elite or Ultimate Edition specifically. And then as I went, I realized a lot of the Ultimate Editions are my favorite versions of those guys. So like Stone Cold, I really like his Ultimate. We're getting the new one, but my favorite ring, Stone Cold, is the Ultimate. My favorite ring, Triple H and Rock, are Ultimate. So I wanted to just do a separate list because there's so many Ultimates that I really liked. But this Elite Stone Cold is fantastic, which is why it was at number 8. And then number 7 is there for some different reasons. So I do have a different head on it. I think the mask that came with it initially, this was the Ringside Collectibles Kane as Undertaker, or Undertaker as Kane figure. So it came with a Undertaker head sculpt that had like the black eye paint kind of smeared off. And then it also came with a swappable Kane head. And this one I just liked a little bit more. I didn't think the other one was bad though. But I really liked the double arm sleeve look for Kane. And I had the Jack's Bone Cruncher version of it. So that was the Kane that I always knew. Even though I'm pretty sure he didn't wear that look very long or that much if at all. But that is always what I thought of with Kane, so this has always been my favorite Kane, even though I have a ton of them now. There's definitely some faults to it. This one has single jointed arms. The hands, you can see the skin tone on the gloved hand. The weight band, the weight belt is just painted on, it's not molded. So as far as Kane figures go, I could easily see someone else putting a different version on here. But for me, like I said, I think it looks fantastic. I think the build is good. I like that torso for Kane. That was that Ultimate Edition head. I threw it on there, but like I said, I didn't think the other one that came on it was bad. I don't know about the boots. If he had the boots, if those boots are accurate relative to the like newer ones we've gotten that have that just don't have laces, I guess. But like I said, it's very nostalgic for me, and it hit the nail on the head for that. So number 7, Kane. Number 8, Stone Cold. So number 6 for me, these are in here together. They're a duo. They're a tag team. I wouldn't have them separate ever. Is the Headbangers 2-pack that we had from Mattel Creations. I think it was also on Ringside. It was perfect. I had no issues with this 2-pack. I thought they absolutely nailed it. I was going to make the Headbangers myself and just never got around to it. I couldn't find the right kilts that I wanted. I didn't have all the pieces I wanted to do them the exact way I wanted to. and I never thought we would be getting them from Mattel. But then I saw a rumor online that they had a Legends contract, so I just kind of sat and waited with the head sculpts, and then boom, we got this 2-pack, and it's perfect. Like, there wasn't really anything to it that I wanted to fix up, mess around with. Like, they got the knee pads, they got the socks, the tattoos, the head sculpt, the likeness is really, really nice for both of them. They've got their piercings in there. They've got the chain from the nose to the ear on, is that Mosh? I forget which one is which. I always just knew them as the Headbangers. They have the shirts. Just, I had no complaints about these, and then I got them in person, and I had even less. Like, just all I had was good things to say about them. I am not nostalgic about the Headbangers. It was cool when they came back on SmackDown. When they did the brand split, they came back for like 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure, and had a couple matches, and that was neat to see. But you know, it doesn't always have to be people that you like, wrestlers that you love. These are just fantastic wrestling figures. Mattel nailed these right on the head, so I had to have these in the countdown at number 6. Next up at number 5 for me is going to be the Elite 97 Chainsaw Charlie. And this was a figure when they announced, I was like, sure, cool, I'll take one. Jax had done one, and I thought they did a pretty decent job. It came with like a cloth goods mask to put over the Terry Funk sculpt. I don't know if it had any special sculpting for the sweater he was wearing, but it was a fine figure. I thought it was cool. It's not like I was knocking down the door for a Chainsaw Charlie figure. And then when I actually got it, I was so impressed. They put a lot into it. The jeans are normal. It was a normal jeans mold. They did get the red laces on the right foot and then the black on the left. And then they added the, like, okay, hold on, Paul Bearer. What are we doing here? Oh boy. Okay, we're back in action here. So back to Chainsaw Charlie. The waist part that they added, the suspenders there, I thought was really cool with the molded part around the waist. And I was trying to think if this had come with another figure, but I'm pretty sure it was unique to Chainsaw Charlie. I know they had something like that with IRS, but I don't think it was the same. And I thought it was cool that they added that on there for him. And then they used the shirt mold that they've used before, that torso. We've seen it with Gold Dust, Hurricane. We've seen it on other guys, but then they added unique sculpting to the arms, and I thought that was awesome. I really liked how they added that, and we're seeing that more. I feel like I'm like pre-double jointed arms. I feel like Mick Foley kind of had that, where they made the elbows, the shirt go down to the elbows, but then there was no like bicep rotation or anything. The Shane McMahon figures we've seen have had the molded t-shirt, and like they used it on Big Boss Man as well. I was just so impressed with how they did this, especially since we haven't seen it used since. I don't know who necessarily we could. I'm sure there's someone out there I could think of. But then I was pretty surprised how they did the Chainsaw Charlie head sculpt here. I thought of a lot of ways they might have done it, and the way they ended up doing just kind of the brown look over his head with his hair coming through, I thought they nailed it in a very unconventional way, and I kind of laughed at how awesome this figure was. I feel like it wasn't one that was really talked about a lot, but again, like, I was so impressed by it. It might be because I had low expectations. I didn't really have a huge expectation for a Chainsaw Charlie, let alone even getting one. So it was really cool to get that. But then number 4 is the Elite Elite 106. Sorry, I was spacing out there. Paul Bearer, and this was the regular version. The Chase is in the blue with his red hair, and that is a very nice figure, but this is like quintessential Paul Bearer for me. He came with multiple hands. He came with 2 different urns, like a big one and a small one, and I did have a bunch of extra like hands and urns, whatnot, so I ended up just gluing this onto his palm so it wouldn't fall off, because it doesn't like port in. But the upgraded size with the pants and the body was much needed. We had gotten Paul Bearer before a couple times as a Build-A-Figure, and he was just on the same generic Build-A-Figure body they use for their suited bodies up until recently, when they started changing it up a bit. So this was on the bigger body. He comes with that beautiful 90s looking Attitude Era tie. The head sculpt is fantastic. Just everything about it I thought was perfect. I actually found the chase first, and I was happy with it. Like, of course, I'm happy to find the chase version, but that was the only time I saw it. And then I'm pretty sure I got this one off eBay, because I needed it. Like I said, I have that Build-A-Figure, but it just didn't capture Paul Bearer for me the way this one does. So the double jointed arms, the swappable hands, there's so much you can do with this Paul Bearer, and the posing isn't too bad. I mean, I don't need him to do a lot. I don't need him doing super kicks, frog splashes, and whatnot, but you can move him around a bit so that you can pose him well for photos. And I mean, that's about all I can ask for. So number 5, Chainsaw Charlie. Number 4, Paul Bearer. Number 3 for me is the Elite 71 Big Show. And one thing, so I've put a few top 10 lists together, and I'm gonna record them in a big batch, and then obviously we'll have them come out weekly or whatever. And one thing I realized is that Big Show, they nail his figures. His figures are fantastic. I could have, man, my rotating stand is trying to stage a mutiny. I don't know what's going on. My stand's fighting back. Anyway, Elite 71 Big Show right here is awesome. His figures are pretty simple, and it's not like Big Show. Like, obviously, Big Show, I don't think he is already, will be a WWE Hall of Famer. He was around forever. He has a lot of big moments, but I don't think anyone's putting Big Show on their Mount Rushmore. But when it comes to action figures, especially Mattel, I easily think you can argue. I think the head sculpt is awesome. I really like his body, they've got down well. Even the later figures with the singlets, I don't have complaints about Big Show figures. This one does have swappable hands. It's got the true effects. It doesn't have double jointed arms, but that's not a huge deal breaker for me. And then the shirt that he comes with is fine. It's what he was wearing, the Big Show there. He did have a shirt during this time period that said "Big Nasty Bastard" on it, which I need to get. I need to get that version to throw on here. But I just think it's such a good figure, even though it's simple. And sometimes that's the best thing. The likeness for the head sculpt is really nice with the ponytail there. Jax did do this version of Big Show, and they had the short hair, and he had an earring. If Big Show did return to WWE, I'd love if we got this re-released with a short-haired head sculpt. There's a lot of figures of Big Show I would really like if and when he goes back to WWE, but I could, like I said, I could put Big Show at the top of a bunch of my different lists. I just think his figures are fantastic, but I did have some here today that are gonna eke it out just a little bit, just because there's a little bit more to them. Moving on. Number 2 on my list is going to be the Elite 13 Edge, as well as the Elite 20 Christian. And if I put these on here by themselves, I probably wouldn't have them on my list, but together I think these are perfect. This is Edge and Christian for me. The Hardys were my favorite Attitude Era tag team, but as far as what Mattel has given us, I was pretty disappointed as far as flashback figures. They did give us the Brood Hardys, which are fantastic, and I've made a bunch of custom fix-ups for them, but not really official Mattel releases as far as Attitude Era Hardys go. There's just a lot on the table that for me there. So with Edge and Christian here, same with the Dudleys. We need Attitude Era Dudleys, which I think we're getting. Pretty sure we're getting. In the Legends line, maybe? But anyway, back to the Edge here. So this was Elite 13, and the blue attire looks great. I like the kick pads there. It is a different head. It's swapped from the Legends figure. The other head I thought was fine. It looked good, but then I thought this one was just much better. So I did swap it on there. And he came with his entrance jacket and glasses as well. And like I said, I just don't have, I don't think I got the accessories initially when I got that, and I'd rather put a cloth jacket on him, but just on my shelf. I have them posed with the title belt, so not a huge deal for me. And then the Christian figure, this is perfect. The shirt is not the original. It's from Ralph's Figure Clothing, actually. But I got both of these off eBay. I didn't have the accessories, and I needed Christian's mesh shirt, so I just went and picked this one up. It was cheaper to get it from Ralph's Figure Clothing at the time than it was to find the actual shirt on eBay anywhere. And I am missing those glasses. I am still really disappointed that we went with the Flip the Switch Christian in the Amazon Takeover line over a Edge and Christian version or the WrestleMania 20. I think those were the two other options, and we picked a re-release option. I'm gonna be so mad. That's up there with Booker T losing at WrestleMania 19 as far as wrestling disappointments. But nonetheless, I like the yellow attire a lot. I think this head sculpt is fantastic. These are, again, two guys that I desperately want to go back to WWE whenever they finish up with AEW. I feel like they're doing pretty decent work given Edge and Christian. But I want so many figures of these guys, the Hardys, just so many. We've got enough, and I've got customs to fill that void for the time being, but I really want more of these guys, and I think these two figures, if we just got them re-released, would be fantastic. So number 2 on my list, and it's time to wrap things up here at number 1. And number 1 for me, for a multitude of reasons, is the Defining Moments Undertaker, Ministry of Darkness Undertaker. I believe we got this as an SDCC exclusive once or twice. I can't remember. I think we got this as an exclusive and then got it again as a Defining Moment, or it even might have been like 3 releases for this. I don't remember exactly what the story was. I know there was controversy when it came out again. I remember people being upset. The original version came with whited out eyes, which I thought was really cool, but this figure is awesome. I was so impressed when I got this. It was relatively early when I was collecting Mattel. So as far as like cloth goods, head sculpts and stuff, there wasn't a lot that I really had expectations for. My collection was very limited, and then I got this one and I thought it was just awesome. This also was one of the first Jakks figures I had that I was really impressed by. It was in the Jakks Classic Superstars line, and the Ministry of Darkness look for Undertaker is just so different. Like, obviously he had his early look that was more the funeral parlor look, and that kind of transformed through the Attitude Era, and then this was like such a huge difference in his presentation. His theme music was awesome, and I felt like they nailed it with the soft goods cape. He's got the shoulder pad kind of wings there, the ponytail. I thought the fade on the hair was really nice, and that was before True Effects even. The goatee is nice. This was one I would kill for an Ultimate Edition of. I think an Ultimate Edition where you could pop the arms off, like this one is really hard to get the head and that torso piece over the hair and everything. The head doesn't pop off, the hands aren't swappable. Like, it's the most basic version of an Elite. So as far as like posability, the legs and everything move well. It moves well enough in the arms and torso. Even the torso, like I said, it's a pain in the butt. You know, we'll take it off. 1 second. There we go. And that was just as painful as I remember. But I would love to get this figure again. The boots are molded different. They did that instead of just cheaping out and giving us the laces. The head sculpt, like I said, is really nice. That torso, I think, would look really cool with the Ultimate Edition articulation. And the Ultimate that we had at Target of the Undertaker attire was much more plain, but those head sculpts and everything made it arguably easily my top 5 as far as Ultimate Editions go. And I would love if they took another crack at Undertaker. I don't know if we're getting one in the Monday Night Wars line, but I would love to get another release of this in the Ultimate Edition line with like the whited out eyes, the tongue out. We could give him the head sculpt from when he's driving the limo and he turns around and says, "Where to, Stephanie?" Something like that, when he kidnaps Stephanie McMahon. This is just, it really wasn't that hard for me when I went through everything to make this my number 1, but I would love to know what you guys think, especially when it just comes to official releases. Obviously, when we're just specifically talking about collecting, we can relate a lot more on that because I don't have a lot of people don't have the customs that I have because they're just my customs and I made them for my collection. But a lot of people have this figure, so I would love to know what you guys think, especially with the Best of Monday Night Wars or whatever Monday Night Wars Elite line that we have. We're getting a ton of Elite figures, so a lot of options to choose from, and I think I just had one maybe, but we're getting a lot of stuff, and I like that we're getting a lot of focus on the Attitude Era because there's so much to pick through there. But that is going to be everything for today's top 10. We have more to come. I'm really excited to record some of these, but if you guys have some things that you'd like to see, I would love to get to those as well. I am always open to suggestions, so throw those down in the comments. Let me know if there's something you missed or I missed that you think should be in there. Let me know, throw it in the comments. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude